Hello, welcome to tonight's edition of rubberDuckin'. So we're going to be doing part 3 of our React final project, and I did figure out kind of what went wrong last week, hopefully. So we're going to start with or yesterday, we're going to start with trying to fix that issue up a bit here, and then keep working on getting the rest of our functionality going. We'll see how long I stream tonight, and we'll see kind of what we get fixed and how far we get in our final project. So I'm going to switch over to our display here, and then we're just going to start our project from where it was yesterday. I fully expect to get that error again, but I did do some research and figured out kind of how to fix it. Hopefully, again, all goes according to plan. So I'm going to bring our current app over as it loads. So if you remember from yesterday, we could click on all factions. We could click on the ship, which should load our details over here. But when we do that, we get this error. And I should have figured it out right away, but at the top it said get ship ID is not a function. So we have a type error. And what our issue is, we actually have several here. So I am passing in actual function into our ship component from our ship list. So we are passing in get ship by ID, our function here. And when we pass that into the ship, if we're passing in a function, we actually have to surround it in curly braces so that it knows it's a JavaScript function and uh, not just another variable. And so that should fix our issue. We still, at least now we don't get the error. It says no ships to be found, but that's because we have to hook up the rest of it. So then also, I am used to having programs where your ID is just a string of numbers. So I was taking our ship ID, and that is a string when you pass it in via the parameters, and I was converting that to an ID or to just a number, parsing it into an integer. But if you look at our cred endpoint and our IDs of our ships, it is a mix of numbers and letters. So we can't just convert that to an integer. We actually do not want to do this parse int for one. We want to get a ship ID, just a plain ship ID. And then we also want to go back to our actual get ship by ID function. And then normally we need a triple equals to match types, but in order to get this to work, we're going to just do a double equals. And so hopefully, I mean, we still have to hook up our view and everything. But if we go to all factions and then Millennium Falcon, now we get our redirect to, right now it just says ship, but that is because, again, in our little redirect using React Router DOM, if it matches just the path, right now it will say ship, but that's where we're going to have our ship view component. And then if it says /edit, it will say ship form. So if we type a /edit at the end of this, we should see ship form as our text. Oops, I did not like that. But that's kind of where we're headed. I'm going to try one more thing. Nope. So we might have to do some work to get the edit working as well, but this is where we're going to start with. So, and then again, the common issue I have, I forgot to push all these changes up to our remote repository. So I'm going to go into our source control here, and I'm going to push our changes that we made yesterday with this now fixed. So we'll just say part 2, and then we'll commit those so that they're committed locally. And then we're going to push that up to our remote repo. All right, so that gets rid of that error that we got stumbled on and tripped up on yesterday. I don't know if this will still work with the triplets equals. We should try that. So if I do a hard refresh, it still works with the triple equals now that we got rid of the parse int. Perfect. So, okay. So now, and that's another thing that we now should have pushed up, but that's okay. And another thing, this isn't absolutely necessary, but back in our index.js, um, when we are using the router DOM, we set it up as browser router. A normal convention out there that I see a lot of people use is just say this is as router, which right now will probably break everything, and then just we need to change this to be router. So again, nothing that will stop functionality, but that's just kind of a normal convention out there. And so if anyone else is looking at this code, that will make a little bit more sense. The other way probably would have made sense as well, but that will fix that up quite and make it a little bit easier. All right, so now let's get rid of our index. We'll get rid of our app.js. We have our ship list. We'll come back to that probably. And then we have our ship. So now rather than it saying ship or ship form here, we want it to go to different components. So we're going to start with setting up our new view for a ship. And so we need to create a new component. I guess I'll leave that there for now. So we're going to create our new component for our view, and it's going to show all of our ship data. It's not going to be the editing area. It's going to just list our ship data. And so we're going to create a new file, and we're going to call this ship view.js because this will be our view of our ship, just the data, nothing else. And then again, we're going to start with our React shortcut here, RAFCE, to create a React arrow function export component. So that sets up all of our React things that we need, and sets up an arrow component. So, so we're going to need also, we're going to need to import a React Bootstrap button. So import button from React Bootstrap / button. So we're just loading in that component there. And then we are also going to be using some routing on our button in this little view. So we need to import link and use route match from our React router DOM. So if we go back to our just our ship component, we're going to need to be setting up a path to this ship view. So we need to import it. So first we'll import ship view from ship view. And then down here, this is where we're going to put that. Oops, not there, but here is where we're going to put that new component. But we're also going to have to pass in some things to it. So we're going to do ship. And then we need to, oh, not ship, but ship view. And then our key, again, React needs these key values, and these keys needs to be unique things. So we're going to pass in ship dot underscore ID. So that again is coming from our endpoint, and that's our unique ID. So we're setting that to the key. And then we also need to just pass in the ship to this view so it knows all the other information. And then we just need to close that off. So now when we go to just the path without the edit, we're going to switch to the ship view rather than it saying ship. We're going to go to this component, and we're going to pass it in the key, the ship ID, and all the ship information. So now back in our ship view is what we want to actually show on the screen. But we also need to pass in a few things. So we need to destructure our ship that we're passing in. And then again, we're going to be using some matching of our path. So we need to do the match again equal to use route match. Okay, so there's that. So we got that coming in. And so now we need to start building out our return, what we're going to display, our view. So we're going to do a React fragment. So we can return multiple HTML elements. And so we're going to start with kind of a row at the top that says in the ship title, and it will have a button that we can click on to edit, and then we'll handle all the passing of that stuff. So we'll handle all that on the button, and then we're going to list in rows our different information from our ships for our ship. So we're going to start with a div with a class name equal to row, and then a div with the class name equal to call. Again, we're just using some bootstrap classes there. And then we're going to have an h2, which is going to be our ship title. So whatever the title of the ship that we're passing in is. And then, so we're going to close that div, and then underneath this, we're going to do another div of class name equal to, let's see, I'm going to kind of copy what I've done before, but we might change this up a little bit. So we're going to do a new div with another column, and then here is where we're going to put our button, our bootstrap button. And so the variant is going to equal warning, so it will be that yellow color, just like our plus button. And then we're going to treat this as a link and not a button, though. So as a React router link. And then the path is going to go to, and this is where we need to use that match again, match dot URL, and then we're going to add the phrase slash edit. So what we're going to do here is, oh, and I can't show it. Let's see if we can get back to just this. Nope, because I need to finish it off first. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the link up at the top of the screen is going to be just the ship, our full path with the ship ID in there. So we want to grab that. And then if we click on this button, we're going to want to go to the edit view which is going to be our form. So it's just going to switch it from the view with just the information to a form where we can edit that information. And then our class name is going to equal float, so that float end, so that goes the end of that little area. And then that should be the end, but we need to put what our button is going to say. We're going to say, have it say edit. So there's a button, there's our div, there's that div. And then now we're going to put the rest of our information. So we need a div with a class name equal to row. So we're going to have a new row and a new column. Class name equals call. And then right now, we're going to just do this with paragraphs. Hopefully this will work. We might need to change that to something else. But we're just going to do a paragraph with a class name of, let's just do note dash text dash display, and then we'll margin top of 2. Again, copying something that was kind of done before. And then we're going to have our ship. What's our next piece of information? So we need the ship name. And then what we're going to do is just kind of copy this down 2 more times. So we're going to have our ship name and then our pilot, ship pilot, and then our ship faction. All right. So now we're good here. We're going to reload, click on faction, click on Millennium Falcon, and we have our information here. So there we go. So we have, I mean, it's not the prettiest. Then we have all of this. And then if we click edit, it goes to our ship form. Darth Vader. So the name, we might need to push this down a little bit. Let's actually go ahead and see if we can do that in the CSS. So the main, we're going to push down to 70 pixels and see if that drops it a little bit. There we go. There we go. So now it's not right up against that bar there. And then if we click edit, it's going to go to this same view, but with all of our little forms. We can make this prettier later, but right now it's at least doing what we need it to do. Bosk's ship, Dauntless, Moldy Crow, Ghost. All right. So, and then, so like I said, what now we need to also click or create our form so that when we click edit, it will take us to the new ship form. So basically the same thing here, but it will change all of these to input fields that you can change the information for. All right. So again, looking kind of at my notes here and seeing what we got there. So this is a good point to, again, kind of commit our changes. So we're just going to say part 3 because that's what we're doing today. We're streaming part 3 and we're going to say view, part 3 view. We're going to commit those changes and push those up. Perfect. So now we need to go back to our components. So if we go back to our ship, right now, when we click on a ship and click the edit button, it just says ship form because right now that's all we have here is our ship form. So we need to now create our form version of our ship view. So we're going to create a new component. We're going to create a new file. We're going to say ship form.js. We're going to do the RACFE to get all of our ship stuff set up. So we're going to do React. We're going to also have to import the use state because this is going to be a form and we're going to actually be saving things into the state. So, but not the global state, like the up high state, we're going to be saving into just state for this component. And then also in here, we're going to import a button from the Bootstrap button. Bootstrap slash. So that's what we need for that. We are going to be passing in the ship again. So we still need to do that over in our ship component, but we will for sure be passing in ship. And let's go ahead and get our curly braces in there now so we can destructure what we're passing in. And then we also need to, so we're going to have to use state on all 4 of our fields. So our title, our name, our pilot, and our faction. And then we're going to also have to create a function to handle those changes. And we'll probably have to create a function to handle the saving of that. But let's start by setting up our array to hold the values and the set values and set those to state. So we need the title value and then set title value. So we have the array of the value and what we want to set the value to, and then we're going to use state, and then we are going to pass in the ship dot title. Okay, and then we're going to do that 4 more times for, or 3 more times for our other values. So we have title value. We're going to do name. So the name value set name. Oops. We're going to do our pilot. And then our faction. All right, so that will set all those to state. We also need to set up some functions to handle the values as they change in those input fields. So we need to do handle title change and set that to the element that we're gonna, so the element that we're gonna pass in the element that's gonna be the input field that we have. And then we're gonna use that set title value. We're gonna set that to the element target value. And I've done that before and it's worked. And we just need to, and it will make more sense once we get our inputs in here. And then we kind of have to do the same thing again to this for our other fields. All right. Oops, we didn't get that. So my light is freaking out. All right. So we have all our stuff to. We also need to do our function to handle our save. So this is going to be anonymous arrow function. We're going to pass in. Well, let's not worry about that yet. That will be when we want to actually press commit to the update. So we're going to do what our view is actually going to be. So we're going to change this to our return. We're going to do another React fragment so that we can return multiple HTML elements. And then we're going to kind of follow the same format as before. Div with a class name equal to row. And then a div with a class, class name equal to call d.flex. So that will be our column there. And so now we need an input. So this will be the input for our title. It will be a text input. And then we'll do the bootstrap class of form control. And then this is where we start hooking it up to things up here. So the value of this input is going to be the title value up here. And then on change of this input, we are going to set it to the function of the handle title change. All right, so that's going to be our header, and then we're going to put in our buttons. So we're going to have a button for deleting, which will handle the functionality of the delete, and a button for saving, which will also handle the functionality of the save in a little bit. But we're just going to set up our buttons first. Variant equals danger, so it's red. The class name equals to margin 3, and then we'll add the on click in a bit, but we'll do delete ship, and then we're going to kind of copy the same thing again. This one will be primary, and we'll add the on click onto this one, but this will be our save button, kind of like how we had the edit button on the other on our view to get to here. And so there's that. We'll do this, and then now we need to have all of our rows for our other pieces of information. So we're going to do a class with a class name of row, a div with a class of column, or call, bootstrap, I always get that messed up. And then we're going to do another input kind of like this, but we are going to know what that did. So this will be our second input is our name. So we say name value So it doesn't like that we didn't have anything there. I don't know what it's doing there. We'll have to see. And then we need to do this 2 more times. And we need to do our pilot value on change, handle pilot change, and then our faction value, and then, oops. All right. So besides our clicks, that should handle everything. Still don't know what it's doing here, but let's see if we get anything. Oh, still saying going to ship form because we have yet to hook up this component. So we need to go back to our ship, not our ship view, but our ship, and we need to import ship form from /ship form. Oops. So, and then here we need to, so we need to go to our ship form, but we also have to pass in things here. So we need to pass in our note or our ship for sure. Oh, and I guess we have to set up our key. So our key equals our ship underscore ID. And again, the underscore ID comes from or CRUD, our API. And then we need to pass in our ship as a parameter, the whole object itself, ship. And then we'll also have to pass in a function here at the end for the delete and the update, but we're not there yet. Ship form. There we go. Had a typo. Typos are the worst. Click on edit. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to space this out some, but we do have our ability to change this up. We have our buttons to delete and say ship. So let's go back and see if we can clean this up a little bit in our form. We What did we do on our view? So we did a margin top. Let's do that just on our form. Might even need to space that out a little bit more. Yeah, let's give that a little bit more. Even more. I'm going to do 4. Just since we have 4 pieces of information. There we go. And so now we need to kind of work on this spacing here. Can't remember. Do I want to just do this? Or does that make it smaller? Margin space. What happens if I delete ship? Just have it say shave or delete. Oh, that looks a lot nicer. What happens if I don't put a class on the button? Oh, so that gets text no wrap. Okay, and then let's go back down to 3. Maybe even 2 there. All right, that looks good to me. Yeah, probably not the prettiest, but we can deal with that. All right, so I don't have anything linked up to actually save these yet, but we have our views working. We might come back and pretty it up some, but we have at least the views working. So in our form, but we have the place to modify things. We don't have the functionality set up to save or delete this yet or add a new ship. So I think that's where we're going to need to go next. I think we will probably start with the adding, because when we do that now, nothing happens. When we do this and delete ship, nothing happens. So we might flip that around. So, but our form is good. We will have to pass in some functionality to the form. We'll have to filter it down some. So we need to go all the way back to our ships list, because that's where our, I think this is it. Let's see here. So no, I need to go, well, let's see. So yes, our ship list has where we're getting, all our ships are getting our ships by ID. So now we want to create our function to add a new ship. So we're going to create a function to handle create ship. And that's going to be asynchronous function, anonymous arrow function. And so then we're going to say const, set up constant variable for the ship to equal await for the API to come back. And then we're going to do create node, or we're going to create a new ship, which is coming in from our ship service. So we'll have to pass that in. So let's do that now. So we're going to pass in that create ship. So we're going to do await create ship. And then for that function, we need to pass in. So we're going to have it create it automatically, and then we're going to need to set the title to new ship. And then we're going to have to set the other fields. So we're going to set the name to blank, the pilot to blank, and the faction to a blank string. There we go. So that when we click on the button, it will give it a fake title, a temporary title of new ship, and then we can set all the other fields to blank so that it's ready for the user to input that data. And then after that, so that's all going to happen there, and then we need to reload the notes, but we need to wait, and then we're going to run our reload the ships. After we're done with that, all right, so that's good there. And so now we need to put that on the button. So down here, we have our button for the new ship. And so we need to add an on-click event to that button. We're going to add our handle create ship. So again, if we reload this, get all factions. Now if we click new ship, it adds a new ship down here. We can go in here, but it takes us to the view. And then if we click edit, then we can have it. So what we want to do is as soon as we create a new ship, we want it to take us right to the view. So in order to do that, we have to do another aspect of the React router DOM, which is use history. And we need to import that. So then we need to do set a const history equal to use history, so that we don't have to, so we can just type history. And then so that allows us, so after we reload our ships, we can use the history to push it to basically whatever location we want to. So we're going to do history.push, and then here we need to do our backticks. So we're going to go to slash ships. Hold on. So all slash, then we need our $, curly braces. So the ship dot underscore ID to take us to that ship. and then we want to go to the slash edit. So we reload this, click new ship. There we go. Then it takes us all the way to the view so that we can change the ship name and set up those variables. Cool. And one thing I did want to try was add a little icon to the new ship button. So how did we do that on home page? Where have we done that before? Oh, it's all the way back on our. So we just need to copy this and go to our ship list with our button. And then we're going to add that. Just see if that works first. Yep, we got our little helmet there, but I want a different icon. So I need to look up the fonts again. Here we go. This is the one we wanted. So we just need to change that there. And now we have our new little ship there. Let's see if we can get him to be a little bit bigger. We'll come back later and get that sizing correctly. All right, so we got our new ship button. We got new ships adding. We need to be able to actually save any changes and delete ships. So I think we'll handle deleting next so that I can delete these blank ships here. So we'll have to create a function to delete the ship and then pass that all the way down to our ship form. So we're going to do const handle delete ship. And it's going to be asynchronous again. And this time we need to pass in the ship to the function, the whole ship object. And then we're going to await in. And then we're going to do pull in from our services the delete ship. So we need to pull that in up here. And we need to pass that our ship ID, because all we need is the ID on that one, I think. Yep. All right. So we need to pass in ship dot underscore ID, and then we're gonna wait again, and then reload ships, just like we did up here. And then we're gonna do the history push, but we're not gonna go to the edit. We're gonna go back to just the all. So we have the handle delete ship, but then we need to pass that as a parameter all the way through. So we have our ship here. No. So here we need to do on delete ship equals not that handle delete ship. So we're gonna, this is the parameter that's going to go into the ship. This is what the function is up here. So now we need to go to the ship, and we need to, so we're passing in the get ship ID. We need to handle in the on delete ship. So that's the parameter that we're passing in. And then that needs to go, keep coming down to our form. So we need to pass it into our form. And so we're going to pass that into our form. And then we will deal with it in our form. So we need to tie that to, so we need to pass that in to our ship form. Where's our, so we have our ship form, or no, we need to go to our ship first and then to our ship form. So we got it in our ship. So now we need to go to our ship form, and our ship form needs to pass it in the ship and on delete ship. So we're passing that function in all the way down to our ship form. We need to tie that to our delete button. So here's our delete ship button, and then we need to change this. So we need to on click on the click of this delete button. We need to do an arrow function to on delete ship, and then we need to pass in the ship. Okay, so let's try this again. We should be able to go to all factions, click on a ship, edit the ship, and delete it. And there it goes. Perfect. So we got the delete functionality working. I'd like to get some editing. So actually be able to update a ship before we call it a night. And so we're going to kind of do some similar functionality there. We're going to start all the way back at our ship list where all of our functions and our scope or our state is. And then we're going to pass our update all the way down to our final form. And so we need, so the update gets the most complicated out of all of them. So we need another function. So we're going to handle update note, and that's going to be another asynchronous function. But here we're going to pass in, oh, not a note, ship. Looking at the old stuff. And then we're going to pass in the ship and our new data is how we're going to handle that. And then we're going to do arrow function. And then we are going to await. And then here's, I'd help if I can spell. So we need to also pin in update ship from our ship service. So we need to update ship, and then we need our ship dot underscore ID. We're going to pass that in, and then we're also going to pass in curly braces, and then we're going to spread the new data. Oops. And then after that, we're again going to await that to complete and then reload ships. And then when that's done, we want to go similar to this, but we're going to history. We're going to go to the ship ID, but without the edit. Okay, so that should be our function to handle the updating of the ship. And so now, just like the handle the delete, we need to pass that down. So we need to pass it down on date ship equals handle update ship. So then we need to go to our ship. We need to pass in on date ship. And that needs to pass in as a parameter on our ship form on update ship equals our function that we keep passing down. And then our ship form, get rid of this. And similar to this, we need to handle this a little bit differently. So we need to create a new function to handle all the save functionality. So on, oh, we didn't pass it in here, on update ship. So on update ship, we need to do the ship, and then we need to title equals title value. Our title is colon title value. The name is colon name value. The pilot colon pilot value. And the faction colon faction value. And so we're actually going to do the on click is going to be the handle save for this one. So we're going to do this. Don't need all that. We're just going to do the handle save. All right. So let's see if that worked at all. And there we go. Save the information. Cool. So we probably need some labels on these in the form. Cool, that all works, but we do need some labels on those forms. So if we go back to our ship form, so we need to put, and I better look up the bootstrap label. I guess I'm not really using React Bootstrap here. I'm just using the oh, I am for the button. I'm just using the classes, so we'll use the regular Bootstrap. Hmm. All right. Well, I think I got all that functioning. So I think that's where I'm going to end it for the night. And we'll come back to this. And we got, I think, all the functionality needed for the final assignment done, but we can all add some things to this yet. So that's where I'm going to end it for tonight. But I think I'll do at least one more to kind of clean up some things and double check that I got all the assignments done. Before we're done, though, I need to commit our changes to everything we've done today. All right. Have a good rest of your night.